Hey, welcome to Quality Crafts. My name is Jen Evers, and we're going to continue on with something that we did just this past Thursday, which is called Zentangling. Now, I called it Doodle and a Digi because you can pick any stamped image or Digi image that you have and do this sort of doodling thing that we call Zentangle inside and make that image uniquely your own, and that makes it super fun. So you just need some black, fine tip, fine point markers, and then whatever kind of water-based or alcohol-based or paint or whatever you want to do to fill in those small areas to make it, colorful. Unless you're planning on doing something that is completely black and white or monotone, which is super cool as well. So we would love to see all those types of projects that you come up with after or during watching this one or the one on Thursday. Pop over onto the Facebook group for Quality Crafts. There's an album already set up for Zentangles, and we would love to see you post your work there so that we can all become inspired by the different images and the different ideas that we are all working on. So I want to take some time. I always come on a little early to say hello to all the community members that come here in the live chat. So we have Penny. Hi, Penny. Thanks for coming. She's a moderator. Her name is in blue. Carol is here. Cindy Wangen. Hello. Wangen. I'm sorry. I always say that wrong. I always get bent out of shape when people say my name wrong, but in my mind I had her name a certain way, and then after several years of knowing her, I realized I was saying it wrong the whole time. So I'm trying to change that. Creative Tamara is here, Hadassah, Pam is here, and Linda, and I'm sure many more are going to be joining here while we get started. So if you're wondering what is Zentangle, it's basically creating images or lined artwork inside of an image. So this is one of the ones that we did on Thursday. It's the beetle. And let me just find in this stack I have. This is what the beetle looked like beforehand. It's a digital image that's in our store at qualitycrafts.com. If you want the bug set, it's only $5 for all 4 of them, and this is one of them. So this is what it looks like when you buy it. And this is what it looked like after we Zentangled it. Pretty cool, right? So we just blocked off a couple of spaces and just started drawing in our own little ideas, and then we fully colored that at the end. I highly recommend leaving some of it white because that just offsets the color and makes things really pop, but that's completely up to you. So we did the beetle on Thursday, and we did this butterfly on Thursday. Hi, Elise and Rita. Who else am I missing? Carol Grove. Mr. Merle is here. Hello. Hi, Vicky. And Jennifer Cruz. Hello. Thanks for coming. So here's the butterfly that we did. This is, whoops, not that one. Let me find a butterfly that I have cut here. This is what it originally looked like, and this is what we Zentangled in on Thursday. And that one's not fully colored, but I really like the way that pops with the black, like in between, not having color. I would probably just definitely leave it that way. And so today my goal is with you guys, if we have the time, and I think we do, we have a full hour, is that I would like to take either the bee or the dragonfly. These are the two that we have not done yet. So let me just pop these guys back in here. I would like to take a vote in the beginning part here. Hi, Julie and Rita. Whether you would like to see us do the bee or the dragonfly. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to Zentangle one and possibly more than one. And we're going to build up. We're going to stack and build up one of these 2 images to create a card today. So at the end, we should have a card created. I slightly changed the title of this one to be... Oh no, I forgot to change the title. So I did put it was part 2, but here's what we're going to do. We're going to do Zentangle designs with your stamps with a card end in mind. So these are perfect size. I have an A2 size card here that when I fold this over will be 5.5 by 4.25. Okay. And so either one of these will fit on here once we get them done. And if we have to turn it sideways for the bee, that's fine too. Either way, it will totally work. We're gonna end up with a card here. So these are the 2 that you can vote on while we're waiting for everyone to get in. We have about 2 minutes left, and I'm just gonna give my little talk about what's going on in the Quality Crafts community. Looks like we've got, let's see, dragonfly, bee. We already did the beetle, Jocelyn, so we're going to stick with either the bee or the dragonfly. We've got 3 for the bee and a couple for the dragonfly. So let me just quickly change our title here. So it's part 2 Doodle in a Digi Zentangle tutorial using Zentangle designs with your stamps, and I'm going to add on to create cards because dun, dun, dun. Thanks for your patience. Because a lot of Zentangling I've noticed it's either in like an adult coloring book or it's just for like mindful relaxation, which it is. It totally is. And yeah, I think the bee has a lot more to work with. So I think we'll go with the bee. That one seems to be winning at the moment. So I want everyone knowing when they're coming in. And if you missed the one from Thursday, go back and watch that. I will link that down below when I get a moment. That there's a purpose in mind for these, that I'm mostly a card maker, so that's what we're going to use ours for. And I've got this one, pretty sure I did 4 of all of them. So I might have to cut these down. I've got at least 3 of them. Let's grab, yep, I have 4. I don't know if we'll use 4 layers, but for sure we'll do 2 or 3. But we'll start out with just 1, and that's the one that will Zentangle, and that's the one that will probably be cut out and put on the top. And we're going to do a layered card look with this, and I'm going to bring in Dee. Yay, you made it! So yeah, I think the bee is winning. We might still Zentangle the little dragonfly here. Maybe I'll start off with that. And it is 205, so we're going to get going with that. If you're looking for the bug bundle, there's 4 bugs in all, and they're on qualitycrafts.com. Go up to the right hand corner and click store. Give that a moment to populate. You'll see all the categories, and just find the one that says bug digis. They're all in there. It should be linked in the description box below as well if you can't find them. So just because we're going to be kind of focusing on this one the whole time, this bee, we're going to go ahead and just do a really quick Zentangle of this little dragonfly, because I know some people really wanted to see him done. And like I said in the last video, these are micron markers, and they come in different sizes. So even though it's really kind of difficult to see them, they start out with 005 being the teeniest tiny little tip. You can hardly see it. It's almost like a needle. And then it goes up from there, a 01, 02, 03, 05, 08 being the fattest one or the widest one. So I really think that about a 05, maybe a 03 would be approximate to a tip that you'd find on like a Sharpie marker, a Sharpie fine point marker. So if you're looking for Sharpie markers, you can use those. Otherwise, I highly recommend these micron pens, and those are also linked. And I highly recommend the Faber-Castell Pitt Artist Pen. And these come, instead of in sizes, they come small, extra small, medium, and brush. So I'm using the 5, which is kind of the medium, in the middle of the road. And we're going to go ahead and do a couple of just Zentangles in here. I'm going to do like a wavy line in this one, because I don't think we did a wavy line in the last one. And I'm not making the second line the same as the first. I'm just kind of going with whatever looks good to me. And I said that in the last video too. Just do what works for you. And these are a little bit smaller right here, these little wings. So let me bring you in just a tad so you can really see that. Forgot to bring you in. Hi, Kayla and Deborah. So then maybe I will do a matching one here. Not exactly matching, but you get my point. So in these upcoming next weeks, if I can make it happen, I'm going to try really hard to post stuff for you guys. The links, the description links in the Quality Crafts group, and possibly the video before, so that you can purchase and help support this channel by using the Amazon links because I'm an affiliate. So you get all the stuff that you need ahead of time for a lower price, because usually the prices that I find on Amazon are really, really reasonable. And so that's like another thing that I have in the works, that I need to make some plans ahead of time so that you can get that information. So I will be doing that as much as I can. So those of you who are beginners and whatnot can look and see, like, what is the technique we're using, and what do you really feel like you need to purchase, and what can you get away with what you have in your stash and not have to purchase. So my whole goal is not to sell you like crazy, but to make sure that products that I'm putting in front of you are appropriate and necessary for the things that we're doing, and not frivolous, like things that I really think that you would enjoy, or that are you know, imperative for like things that we're doing and that kind of thing, so that you can make wise choices about what you purchase or what you don't need to purchase according to what you have at home in your own stash. So that's how I decide. I decide, like, am I really going to use that again? Is that something that everyone else is using that's just a trendy thing, or is that something like, wow, everyone else is using it and it should be an integral part of what I have, even if maybe on the onset it's a little bit more of an investment on my part. And so there are certain things like trimmers. I mean, I know a really good trimmer is an investment, but that's definitely something you're going to want, like an excellent pair of scissors, a bone folder, things like that. When you're doing card making and paper working is just integral. You know, you have to have it. Oh, thanks, Casey. I'm really sorry I didn't zoom in sooner. So let's get going again and just add some more little Zentangle ideas. Last time in the video on Thursday, I actually went to Google and showed you guys how I just typed into Google and found tons of ideas of different kind of Zentangle ways to do it. You know, all the little tiny things. So just do what works for you. One thing that I did not do was like a mesh or a square or a checkered kind of deal. So I'm going to do like a checkered one on here. I saw a really cool checkered one in that other thing, and so I'm kind of making these a little bit more rounded. And then I want to try something here. Hopefully this works. They had, not only did they checker it, but then on each one of these things they had little dots, so that it looked almost like it was like fishnet, but not quite, you know what I mean? So I'm going to black dot each one of these and see what we think of the outcome of that. I think it looks pretty cool, especially on a wing. Pretty neat. Look at that. Let's try to see if we could do this one just a little bit more curved and see what we get. And then we're going to work on that bee, because I really want to end up with a nice card for you guys. Now I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm making this like totally different. Sorry, my brain just kind of went, oh, this would look cool. Let's just try it. I'm going to tell you right now that I have a lot of ideas that are already. Oh, that looks almost like it's making two little bubbles there. I'm going to color in a little bit of black so you can see what I'm talking about. That looks really cool. That was on accident. Look at that. Doesn't it look like two rotating gravitational balls in there? Yeah, that just came out of nowhere. I'm going to keep that. Hey, Krista, you made it. So what did I want to share? My mind is just going a million places. We are actually looking to buy a house, and I mentioned that in the last video. I'm sure I did. Because some people have been saying, oh, I hope that works out for you. And I'm thinking about possibly changing to another career, depending on what happens with that and whatnot. So there's a lot of stuff going on in my brain. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm not going to change the times of the videos, but I'm going to change up a little bit of the fact that I'm not going to have really super planned out videos every single time that we come. Maybe once a week on Thursdays I'll do like a super planned out video. Or like, I really love the idea that when you guys get on fire for an idea that I'm doing, like this Zentangle was just so exciting, everyone was just so thrilled, I went, you know what, I'm going to put off the next one and I'm going to focus on this. So if I start putting out supply lists ahead of time, just know that you'll have at least a week to get them, if not more, because sometimes as a creative person and a creative mind, I have to put things on the back burner and then bring something else forward if that's something that people are really excited about or I'm really excited about, because that keeps the channel what it is just giving you guys really great content and super fun ideas. So I never want you guys to think that we have to be so rigid that we can't pop in an extra fun or different kind of thing every now and then. So just remain flexible with me, and I think that we're always going to have a really great time on this channel. So if you're new, stick around. We always have videos every Thursday night from 6 to 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, every Sunday afternoon from 2 to 3, and every Wednesday at 5, we have a 10-minute video where I take an envelope from one of you guys out there. Nobody knows what's in the envelope. We open it up together, and I set the timer for 10 minutes, and I create a card from mailbox to masterpiece, we call it. It's 1 in 10 by Jen. So check us out for that. That's super fun. Wednesdays are always a really good time. And it's a short video, so it's not going to take a lot of time out of your evening, you know, when you're trying to get the kids going and whatnot and dinner. Sit down for 10 minutes with us and just make a card. It's super, super fun. So Mr. Merle says, tell her Sharon said don't buy cheap. She bought a cheap guillotine, now needs to buy another as it's fit for purpose, so it ended up costing double. Oh, it's not fit for purpose, so it ended up... Yeah, make sure that when you are investing in those larger priced items, that you're getting something that you know other people have used and maybe swear by, so that you don't have to end up buying a second one too. That's a really good point. So let's go ahead and finish up this guy because I want to stay on track here. So, because some of you guys are like, get going, we really want that other card. We will make it happen, trust me. Where is that other one? I just want to make sure that I'm not constantly giving you guys the same ideas. So let me just pop out my other ones in frame here where I can see them. Because I really wanted to do circles in here, but we've done a lot of circles, so maybe I want to do like a diamond pattern down his back. I think that would look really cute. I have no rhyme or reason how this is going to turn out. So I just did the diamond straight up his back. And then I'm just going to add in some here. So they're crooked and they're natural looking. They're organic looking because I just created them without a pattern and without being specific. But that's really cool. And then I think we're going to do something really similar to that last one that we did on Thursday, where I just pulled up, I don't know, they look like almost like feathers. And I'm going to start making them longer. How they got really tiny at the end there, do you see that? That might be a little bit difficult to color. You can always do like one whole color in here and not have to worry about changing up the colors. You can do whatever you want. And I'm going to leave his little head alone, I think. So let's go ahead and color in just a little bit of this guy. And not going to worry too much about exactly what we're coloring. Just laying down some colors here. I'm using the same markers that I used on Thursday, so if you're looking for these, they are linked in the description box. Mine's a 48 set marker set, but we linked you the 56 set because that one's cheaper now than even the 48 set, so you're getting a great deal by buying that one. So I'm putting some purple in here because I thought that would look really cool. Oh, and as we ended this past Thursday, we realized that we could put down some alcohol markers, and then we could put these markers over the top, and it changed the color of everything, which was really sweet. So we might do a little bit of that today. Maybe on the bee. I might have to stop after we add a couple colors here to make darn sure we've got time to Zentangle that bee and then get to that card making. I hope to see some more of your Zentangling and works in the Facebook group, because as of right now, there's only one other person besides me who's posted in there. Hi, Sharon. So I think we're going to leave this guy be for now because he can always be colored later on. But let's get started with this bee. He's pretty fabulous. We're going to have to find some different kind of things that we want to do with this bee. I think that I'm going to, and these should, there we go, click together. Take a drink just before we get started. Cheers, everyone. So let's go ahead and do kind of like that same kind of thing we did on this beetle, because I thought it was so cool. I'm just going to make some like flower petals up into his little head part here. Oops, I'm sorry, I was a little bit out of frame, but I just put these little petals right in here. It might help for me to have like one laying by where you can see that this is the original. I don't know if that'll make a difference for you guys. I'm so zoomed in, I don't think you'll be able to see it. But I can, if you guys want to say, hey, stop and go back to the original. So that's what it originally looked like, and we just added those flower petal things. Which we could add flower petals on the other side and make his head almost look like a flower, which would be kind of cool. How about we could do that. So this, like say this is like the flower, and then we're going to have like maybe like a, what do you call, like a couple of spots where there's water, like shine marks, almost like he's got like a gem for a head, maybe a gem, like a shiny diamond or ruby or whatever color we decide to do that. I think that would be really pretty. And then we could bring something down here. Let's do that. We could bring something down here into his torso and make this like the end of the floral stem. I don't know how that got that little black mark in there, but there we go. That looks pretty cool. I'm going to go over that and make sure that I've got some dark lines here. And maybe I'll just go up this round and just kind of get rid of that little bump that I don't like. So art is always about your feelings, your emotions, your soul coming through the work. So you go over and add darker lines and whatnot to make this match what you're feeling and what you like the way it looks. So I think that looks really cute, and I think I'm going to add some like little circles, little ovals to his legs here. Now I could have went and grabbed another marker that was thinner than this one, but I chose not to. I'm still using the 0.5, but the 0.2 or the 0.3 probably would have made more sense in here to make the smaller circles, but that's totally up to you. I think that looks really cool. It almost looks like he's got like metal see-through legs. I don't know, but do you know that if you're not planning on Zentangling an entire image like this, let's say you're putting together a card and you've got an image and you're like, this looks really cool, but I really wish the artist would have done this. And you could do an add-on to what they've drawn. You can do that in your art. You can, for your cards and stuff that you're creating, you can do that, add on and do neat things. So don't be afraid to try new stuff. I'm going to do something with these. I think I'm going to kind of follow that flower pattern. I'm kind of feeling that that should be more of like a theme going on here. So I'm going to like start doing these little bumpy flower patterns inside this wing and see what I think of that. I do like that. So I'm going to start from the side and go ahead and make some on this wing as well. That looks neat. And we could do it to the bottom wings as well. I'm not really sure if I'm liking that. I think I'm going to leave that as is. I might add a little something in between there, but I'm not sure. How do I want to do that? Let's look back. What's my favorite stuff? Yeah, my favorite stuff would be to make this look kind of like those feathers coming out. So I'm going to do that for this bottom part here, and then maybe add a few more. Looks like a little tiny wing in a wing. That's really cool. But then I want to leave the bottom part like a full color. I think that would look really neat. So that's the beginning of that one. Let's just start coloring this in. You can always go back and tweak, make fatter, darker lines, fill in, do that kind of a thing. Whatever you want to do. I'm going to use like a reddish color here and make this kind of like, you know, like it is supposed to be a ruby. And these are water-based markers that I'm using. It's the 48 color set. I think I linked to the 56 color set. So just know that when you're coloring larger spaces and you go over the top, you know, like when we were kids and we colored and then we went over the top of it, you're going to get all those marker lines. You see all those little marker lines as we went over the top? I'm not really worried about that because I'm not, my whole idea in doing this was just to get some color in here and have fun with it, and I'm not perfecting it. I didn't pull out my alcohol markers to make sure everything blended well together and that kind of thing. So if you want to do that, I would totally encourage you to do that. Get out your alcohol markers and make it look really super sweet, and that would be awesome. I'm going to try to find one more darker one. I don't know, is this one? That's more of an orange. This one's a darker one. And then we could add in a little bit of a shadow. So this is a darker red. We go ahead and add like a little shadow here. And then a little shadow around this side. And maybe one up and around. So these work really great to do this with if you're just going to add like shadows and stuff. So it looks almost like I blended it, but I didn't. I used two different colors, one dark red and one lighter red from the same marker set. I think you can totally get away with doing that with any kind of water marker set, water based. So these aren't watercolor markers or anything like that, but look, I got a nice blended look. So, you know, use what you have to get the look that you want. Now I'm thinking that I want a little bit of yellow. And you know, remember the last one? I'm hoping that the color 56 has yellow in it, because this is the yellow that comes with it. And on camera it looks like a light yellow, but it's really very fluorescent. And that's not the color I want. So I'm going to grab a yellow from my alcohol markers and I'm going to use that. So I'm going to intermittently throw in some alcohol markers in here just so I can get the colors that I want. So they all play well together. You can put in whatever you want in here. I'm going to put in some goldish yellow. He's going to look pretty regal when we're all done. I better get my booty moving here though if I want to get that card finished. And these right here, these have that same pattern. So I'm going to pull that theme out from his head out into his wings here by using this same color. You can always go back in with a black marker and add more markings if it's not busy enough for you. Or you decide when it's all done that there's something else that needs to be there. Make the wings connect to the stem. That's a cute idea. It's a really cute idea. We could do that. Let's try it. Make the wings connect right to the stem. And then I'm probably going to put a green color down there. Look for one of those. I'm going to use a lighter green and a darker green, so again we can get a little bit of a contrast there. Now the more you go over the paper with these water-based markers, I got a little bit of bleeding there on the marker, on the black marker, not a lot, you probably can't even see it. The more you go over it, the more it's going to pill the paper if you keep putting it over and over. Like you can't just scrub on the paper with these like you would a alcohol marker. So it's a whole nother feel of how you use these. I'm just going to make a darker line on one side of this all the way around, so we get like a two-toned effect. That looks pretty cool. And I can go back over it maybe one more time here with the lighter to blend them in the middle a little bit more. There. That looks pretty cool. But the more I go over it, the more the paper starts to pill. And I'm using 110-pound cardstock by Nina, just in case anybody was interested in that. And I'm going to make, I'm struggling with the fact of, do I want to make his body that same color? But I'm thinking I probably should not. Right now, my brain is going, I think this outside part right here should be blue, but not full on blue, like dotted blue. So I'm going to use my markers to do that. And I don't know why. That's just what came to me while I was looking at it. I went, oh, hey, that would look really cool with a fun little splash of blue dots. And then I have to decide what I want to do after that. Do I want to add some more? I'm thinking maybe let's get some teal in there. You guys can probably hear a little bit of Liney through the window. He's outside enjoying the cool air. That looks cool. Now I might go over the top of that with a really light alcohol marker and see what happens to the color change. Let's try that. This one is super light blue. Let's go over the top of this and see how it changes the color, if it does. Ooh, it doesn't. I'm just going to go around the edge. Go around the edge here and leave the center more white. That's pretty. Alright, what else is speaking to me? A little more purple in here, please. Taking maybe this color in like his wings here. Thanks, Krissa. Hi, Monica. Thanks, Raggedy. Where did I say I was going to put that in these wings, right? That's really a dark color. Let's go ahead and just go around this fun regal like gold color and see if we can get that to pull out some. That looks really cool. And then I'm going to bring it all back together with a little bit of purple on the bottom. That looks neat. Let's go ahead and do that. And make sure that I'm in frame here so you can see what I'm doing. Nothing more frustrating than hearing someone talk about something and we completely forgot that we were out of frame. I do not mind being reminded to get back in frame. So always feel free, especially if you're live with us. Hey, Jen, you're out of frame. That looks cool. I really think that we need to pull that color through for the theme to keep it that theme. So I'm going to go ahead and put some of this pinky purple in his eyes. And then I'm going to pull some of that into the center of these. Not filling them in completely. I'm leaving a little bit of white. Just like that. Then we can bring maybe some of that teal back in. And we could do some of this one, that teal, so that that teal also fits the theme. Putting a color that you add in into another spot like completes the theme, if that makes sense. So I could also put that color somewhere else. And I believe that that red should be part of the theme too. So because we've got red up there, I'm going to add red to his legs right now. Oops, I went outside just a little bit. That's okay. We could always fussy cut that later, or if you've got the fabulous white gel pen, that will also cover it up, which is awesome. So I'm bringing that red from his Julie head back out into the rest of it to pull all of this theme, the color theme together. So you can put in your favorite colors and then make them all work out, even though you might not have put teal and red together, or you might not have put that gold with that purple together. You just never know. Now I feel like there's maybe one more color that we haven't pulled in, and that's that like darker blue that we put in there. So I'm going to go ahead and use that darker blue to create a blue around his head up here. So that blue gets tossed around a little bit. And maybe right in here, like I could have taken the marker and made these black marks, but instead I chose to do this part of the Zentangle like just marker Zentangled, and I'm just making some little lines. Okay, so then the blue is throughout. And I'm thinking we could probably get away with, I'm going to do these last two legs red, and I think that we can get away with then doing something in the middle with the torso of that blue to pull the rest of it together. So I'm using the markers that I announced on Thursday and that I've used in many other videos. It's called the Brush Pens. I have the 48 set. If you look in the description box below or on the store, if you go to qualitycrafts.com, upper right hand corner, click store, give the page a moment to populate, and then scroll all the way down to the Amazon links, you'll find that now we have the 56 one highlighted there, and that one you get 56 colors for only $25.99. So not only do you get more colors, because mine's only 48, but it's like $5 less than it used to be. But sometimes prices fluctuate on Amazon, and so not to sound salesy, but if you want that at that price that's there now, I would get it now, because it just seems to me like when people start buying stuff, then all of a sudden, oh, we're going to raise the price $3 more or whatever. But when they're putting it on sale like this, they always drop it like $4 or $5, so that's super great for us. So now I'm going to add some of this blue in here. And I have absolutely no rhyme or reason how I'm going to do this. I'm just going to add a little bit on the torso here, almost like I'm kind of making it going around it. And I'm going to start there. Like I'm going to start just going around the torso and see how much I want to put in there. I may not want to put a lot in there. Maybe I want to leave a bunch of white here for offsetting the look completely. I love to leave some white, which is why the dots, we didn't completely fill that in. We want a little bit of white somewhere. That looks really cool. And I think I'm going to bring it down the side of this little, what do you call it? Not all the way around it though. Maybe a little on the inside, because I don't want it to overpower that and we lose our little stem. So I'm going to be real careful in how much I put in there. But that looks really cool. Super cool. Alright, so let's just add in a little bit of that blue, that alcohol. Now I'm switching to an alcohol marker. And I'm going to blend that blue out. It's not really going to blend. I'm just saying that because this is what you would do if you were doing it with another alcohol marker. All I'm doing is just extending that color out just a tad bit more, but it's super light. So if I decide that I really don't like it, it's not going to be really bold in your face color. I ran over a bunch of black there, so I got a little bit of bleeding, but you probably won't notice it. But that just brings in a little bit more of the color, leaves a little bit more of that white so everything is balanced. Super cool. I'm going to bring in a little bit more black, and because I really feel like these lines should have had black in them. So I'm just going to go over them again so we get a little bit of black in there. You don't have to do that. I just feel like it looks like there's too much marker in there. So I'm using the 05 just to go over, like, not some in the middle and some next to those lines to make it look like I wanted those lines there on purpose. And then a little bit more on the inside here. I'm going to add, like, so it looks like I really wanted there to be an extra color there. I'm going to outline those greens. You don't have to do that. Again, you can do whatever you want, but look at the difference of me going black around those greens, how they pop out even a little bit more. Okay, and to make another little bit more of a pop, I'm going to add some circles to these. And so this is where your Zentangle could just take you forever. Just go on and on. Look at that. Look at the difference between how this pops and how that pops. Like, to me, it's night and day. I mean, there's just no choice for me. I gotta color in those. That looks really cool. So, attention to the detail. Zentangle really is about detail. But you can be a basic, an intermediate, or an advanced. And that is totally up to you. Doesn't it though? Yeah, the black really does make it pop. I love it. So we may be going over just a little bit of our hour today because I'm noticing that we have 20 minutes left and I still want to cut this guy out. I want to use his body as the base, but I want to use probably as his base, I'm not sure. But I want to start like paper piecing him together. So here's the bottom of the guy. And we're going to be putting things on top, and maybe not all of it. Some of it's going to pop up higher. I haven't really completely thought it out, but for sure I want to do the wings on another level. So those are higher, or maybe just so that they flap a little bit, so that they are up a little bit higher. And I could have done the whole, done the whole base, or I could have said like, okay, now this is the base. Now I'm going to Zentangle and color the pieces that I want to cut out, and then put those on top. We could do that, but I'm going to do it like the opposite way around. I'm going to say, okay, I want his head down for sure. Or maybe I want his head bumped up one level. Let's try that. No, I'm going to have to cut this really, really close so that I don't cut off any of the other areas that I want on there. And you can go ahead and color like 3 or 4 of them the same and then do this kind of thing, but I'm just trying to save time. Like, I don't want to have to color this head 3 or 4 times, you know. I just wanted to color it once. So right now what I'm doing is I'm fussy cutting it as close as I can get, and then so that it doesn't look so messy on the edges, I'm going to take the brush. You probably may be wondering why you would want a brush tip in the Faber-Castell. Well, this is what the brush tip is for. Hi, Vicky and Judy. The brush tip is for, in my opinion, doing this kind of work where you go around the edge and you make sure that that's a black edge because in the original design it's a black edge, but now that we've cut it, we've ripped open wide that inside white core. And so we want the rest of it to look as finished and nice as it did before we cut it off of there. Now I could cut out the jewel and we could raise that up another level, you know, on top of what we're already doing. You can add color underneath if you're concerned about the white showing, all that kind of stuff. That's completely up to you. So since we do have the time, and I know you guys don't mind sticking around because you're awesome, I am going to pop up this jewel. I'm going to be very careful in cutting around, and I specifically made these images to be really, really easy to fussy cut and cut out. Maybe not so much the legs if you're kind of concerned about that, but these are very simple images, these bugs, so that they're easy for anybody from beginner to advanced to experiment with and use. And that guy is going to be like right there. Make sure that I got him going the right way. And now that I cut that piece off, I'm going to go back in. You see all that white there? Watch when I color this in. All that white disappears. It turns black again. And it just makes a big difference as to how that looks when there's a nice crisp black edge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the bottom part of his head down. And those are the parts that I'm going to use this wet glue for right now. Raggedy photo. Yes, you definitely could color one and then photocopy it so that you have a bunch so you don't have to color them. I do think that if you do that, it will change the color slightly, but don't mark my words. It just depends what kind of printer you have, what kind of setup you have. So that top part of his head is going to go flat down on there. And then I'm going to bump this one up with foam tape. Got a little extra piece on the side so then I can cut the rest of it. Liney says hi from outside. He thinks he's starving to death. Thanks, Jill. She said I'm sticking around because I think you're awesome. I do like Raggedy's idea though. Color one and photocopy it again. As a matter of fact, if you really like the way you colored something, put it back, you know, photocopy it anyway, scan it back into your computer so you have a copy of it for next time. It's an awesome idea. Especially if you're going to make a whole bunch of stuff. Like a whole bunch of cards or invitations, or you're going to need it later for something, or you just really love the work you did and you want to save it. Just trying to get this one in so I don't see so much white on the bottom. Now this level is popped up. One, you see that? It really is popped up. Now here's the part where when you pop stuff up and you turn it to the side like this, you can see the white underneath. That's why some people like would have originally colored the bottom red and then did this on top so they don't see the white. I'm not going to worry about that. That's not going to be a concern of mine. But I do want to, I want to pop these wings up. But in order to do that, I think what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to cut the wings, all 4 wings off, and then I'm going to cut around the legs and the body. So the legs and the body can go on first, and then we'll work on the wings. So if you have a machine that'll do all this stuff for you too, use that as well. Just be careful that when you're cutting in here, you don't lose that leg. So I'm going to cut around the other side. Cut in as close as you can because you can always use the black marker brush trick. So there's one of our wings. That's this one. And I'm just going to lay them down on this one so that I know where they're at. And then if I need to do some extra trimming and I can brush it out, we have time to do that. And I'll know where they're coming from. But hang on to the rest of this because this is all going to go down on here too. So don't cut your little red legs off. And in case you do, you can always paper piece them on separately. It's not a big deal. It's just easier if you have it all together when you put it down, because that'll make it easier for you to put it together like a puzzle. And the legs, being that they're so skinny and fragile, the legs will go down flat like glue. Don't chop off your blue body part there. You're going to want that to be on there too. Okay, so hold on to this part right here. We've got all of our legs and our body part. We want to hold on to that. And let's work on the wings, just getting the wings fully cut out. And then we will marker around the edge of them. And then eventually we'll have to decide what we want to do with this guy. I'm not going to cut him off of this page again. I'm not going to fussy cut him again. But we'll decide if we're going to cut him in a circle or just cut him in a closer square so that we can get him on the next card. And so I've got a couple more pieces here that I needed to trim off the back side. It's easier for me to cut on the right hand side and turn it than it is for me to cut left this way. So it's easier for me to go this way than backwards, you know, cutting towards your hands. That's kind of more difficult. So just imagine these wings are going to be flying off the top of this. And you could put some color underneath there if you're worried about that. I'm a little worried about my time constraint today, so I'm not going to do all that. But we're definitely going to have to go back in, chop off a couple of these pieces, and cut out very carefully our little red legs. Again, if you're not really big into fussy cutting, you might want to have your machine do all this cutting, like your print and cut and whatnot. I don't know what you have at home, so I'm just using scissors. The legs are the most tedious, so if you just decided, I'm not going to redo the leg, I'm not going to cut out the legs, I'm just going to recolor them because they were so simple to make. So let's say I don't want to cut those out. I am going to cut them out, but just say you don't want to. Just grab that red that we colored them with, and we did the black thing. Draw your circles back in. And color them red, and then you won't even have to do any of the extra cutting if that's too much for you. So we're drawing our circles. Okay, and we're going to color them red. So you can always go back in and do this instead. Because that might just be a little bit too much for maybe where you are in your crafting journey, or maybe you have arthritis, or you can't fussy cut, whatever your ability is. Try to find things that will make these projects work for you. I try to point out things that, you know, come to mind as I'm creating it, like, wow, this might be tough for somebody. We might want to like come up with something else for them, but in the end, it's just up to you what you're comfortable with. Like sometimes we're using craft knives and stuff like that, and maybe you don't want to use that because you're afraid you're not that great with them yet, or you don't want to cut them or cut yourself, or maybe you'd rather just buy the trimmer because you want to work with your kids and the trimmer is a lot safer. So there's another option of just reinventing those on the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and finish cutting these out. We're definitely going over because it's going to take me some time to cut these babies out. And I did not cut out or plan this all out ahead of time. I like to do real art with you guys where it's like, oh, I took this idea and I thought this is what we would do. And that way I can hear what you guys are doing. 13 people watched who haven't liked this video. No, we can't fix that. Wow, 13 thumbs down, is that what you're saying? Maybe they find me boring, or maybe they just don't like Zentangling. I don't know. Such is life. I know that Liney's going to be excited when I'm done here because then he'll get his little dinner. These two at the top are the most precarious, so I think what I'm going to do is just chop this one off, and then so I have some space to cut, and then no problem, we'll just put it right back on exactly where it meets the part that it got cut off from. We just have to remember that that's where it goes. "13 people haven't picked anything." Oh, well, that's even better. They still have an opportunity. Maybe they're still trying to decide. So to you 13 people who can't make up your mind whether this video was worth it, I'm just teasing. Teasing for no reason. Oops, that one goes this way. I still want to go around this in the black with the black marker just to make sure that it pops out of here, and then we'll create the card. So yep, this video was going long today, folks. My apologies. Should have just skipped the little dragonfly, but I really felt like some people wanted to see how that one would look Zentangled a little bit, so we did a little bit of him. So, you know, I'm kind of going backwards on this one, but that's because these little legs are really hard to get around going all one way. And that worked out well in that corner. I hear you, buddy. We're gonna feed you when the video's over. It's not that he hasn't been fed all day. He gets fed twice in the morning, and then he gets fed twice in the evening, so he won't perish, for those of you who are animal lovers. Alright, look at that. We have a little bit of, I back cut that one, and I can tell I left a lot of white. So I'm just going to cut that one a little bit closer. Okay, so let's go ahead and brush these pieces out, and then we can finish up. So always do this so that if you slip your pens, your marker is going to go to the back and not slip and color up over the front, because that would be really sad. And we're just going to go around the whole piece, each little leg. So if I'm not sure, I go from the back side so I don't accidentally color in the front side of a leg. See where I accidentally missed? Right here. Sometimes you just have to color in from the front if it's not quite getting there to make that look black. There's a bunch of talking going on in the thing, and something about me deserving 10,000 likes and something about the cats, and I missed some of that. And I have to look at all this fussy cutting. That takes a little bit of concentration. So I might have missed a few spots. I'm not going to make sure that it's super duper perfect. I'm just going to do the best I can since we're running out of time here. If I turn this sideways, I can see all where I missed. That looks pretty good. So now I might want to lift up this middle part, which means I would cut off all these little legs. And I do, so I'm going to make sure that these little legs land where they should. Okay, these guys should land here. See how you wouldn't necessarily had to have fussy cut those out, because you could have just recolored them, which I did. So let's go ahead and just leave these out. I could use these for another one since we already have them colored. I'm going to save those legs. I am not going to throw those legs away. They're all ready to roll. I'm going to leave those down, and here's the body part that we have left. That's going to fill in all those gaps. And now you can't even tell that it looks funny, doesn't it, when it's all cut out? Like it's not going to go. Oh, and you know what? We just cut off those legs, so we've got a couple more little white spots we need to cover up. There we go. Good enough. And I'm gonna glue this one up as high as this little head part right here. So I'm gonna use some pop dot here. He is persistent, I'll give him that. Mr. Liney Head. He is a persistent little guy. He does not like to be ignored. So we're going to pop this on. That looks pretty darn good. Let's go ahead and press that down. So now we've got two parts of it popped up and paper pieced on there. He's starting to look pretty cool. Now we could have popped up even more if we made him a little bit bigger and we had a little bit more play. Which you can do with Digi images. You can make them any size you want, which is awesome. I totally love that. Now we want these to be popped up. We want these to pop up off and be really fabulous. So what I'm going to do is glue the tips down, and then we will pop up the other ones. Now if you wanted to color another set and put them out even more on top, you could. I'm looking through the little hole here, making sure that this lines up, and gluing that down on the bottom, but not the whole thing. Notice just the bottom crook of it. And then the same with this one and all the other two on the other side. Just make sure that everything lines up. So this is another reason why I said some people would color underneath this wing here because they wouldn't want that to show as just being white. That's totally up to you. If that's the direction that you're going, that you see envision for your art, then do it your way. So this one will, and just scoot it over just a tad. This is why I use wet glue for this part, because you can move it around some. So that one's going to stay there. And now they look really cool. They're kind of flying apart, which would look really neat if we had an extra set to pop underneath or on top. Like let's say I had some vellum hanging around and I had printed this on vellum. We could put vellum underneath there. We could even color underneath there if we want it to be blue or whatever. But now we've got a really cool Zentangled element that has a lot of different dimension to it. You could add stickles at this point. You could add glossy accents at this point. You could revamp and do whatever you needed to. Now, if you don't like the red leaking out of his little leg there, you could put a little bit of white gel pen on there. You could bring your white gel pen in to add extra highlights as well. So let's do a little bit of that quick. If I can get my hands on my gel pen. I haven't used it in quite a while. Cheers, guys. I know my gel pen's here. Or did I set it on top? I bet I did. Yes, I did. I'm really good at hiding things from myself. It's a talent I've always possessed. So I'm going to use the white gel pen. Make sure I'm in range here for you. I got a little bit too carried away with the red marker on the top here. So I'm going to go ahead and color this in. Cover up that red so that really sticks out. And then we can add in different kind of white, even more detail. If you thought we already had a lot of detail, we could do even more. So I'm going to put a little white dot on the end of either one, all these little, the purple and the green. And then let's flip this around. I can put some on the yellow part since I didn't put black there. Maybe I want some white. Okay, so can you see even more detail that we've done? The little white dots on here in the middle. We could even have cut around that and made those up, flap up higher too. I didn't do that, but we could have. Could even do a little white dot in the middle of each one of these. Sometimes I think I press down too hard for the gel pen. I don't give it that wiggle room to like actually come out of the pen. And then I figure it out and I'm like, oh, well, there it is. Stop pressing so hard, let that ball roll. And then it starts coming out a little bit quicker. There it is. Barely have to touch the paper to get that gel pen to come out, but look at that. Now we've got little white ones inside those little black ones too. Thanks, Dee. People are keeping track of the likes for me. That's amazing. Oh, 40 likes. Whoop, whoop. There's probably a lot of people that are watching that aren't actually, you can't see them inside here. So that's pretty cool. They can see us, but they can't talk for whatever reason. This is pretty amazing. We could add some glitter glue to this, and I'm thinking that would look really spectacular. Before we do that, though, let's make sure that how we want to cut this out. Like, I'm thinking like an oval of some sort. Let me just pull out a template here. I don't even think I have one big enough. Will this oval fit him? Nope. What about this circle? Oh, so close. If I get inside his wings, we could do a circle there. We just wouldn't cut off his wings. Let's do that. So I'm going to, you're an hour late? Yeah, we're supposed to have ended 7 minutes ago, but we're having so much fun. We just want to finish this card up. So I think that would be awesome. So I'm going to take a pencil, which I usually have one in the bin next to me. Here it is. And I'm going to make a light marking all the way around this. Now, if you weren't doing this on the fly, if you had already planned this out, you already would have most likely done this marking, so it was ready for you. But since we didn't, we just kind of have to work around with what we have, which is fine. I think it'll be good. And then we're going to cut around that circle. Can you sort of see the circle all the way around him now? And we still have a part right down here where we could stamp a sentiment if we really wanted to. And we can erase that pencil when we're done. So right now I'm just going to go around. Now this wing right here is caught outside the circle, so we're going to make sure we incorporate that. We're not going to chop it off. And then we're going to finish up the circle here. Till we get to the other one. And we don't want to chop that one off either, so we will go around it. And it'll look like we decided to plop this fabulous Zentangled like embellishment we created in the middle of a circle on purpose. This card is going to look really cool. I already have an idea what I want to put underneath it. And then we'll probably end. I mean, there's so much more I could do to it. Sometimes I work on cards for days, and then new ideas just keep popping up for me. Give me a little love in the chat area. Some little hearts or emojis if you guys do that too. Do you work on a project and then just kind of let it sit? Maybe not even let it sit on purpose. You just kind of didn't have time to get to it or whatever. And then you come back to it and you have like new fresh ideas, and then more ideas start popping out. Look at that cool embellishment we created by using that little bug. If you want this bug, he is really awesome. You can get him at the Quality Craft store, qualitycrafts.com. Upper right hand corner, click on the store link, and after everything populates, look for that little category that says Bug Digis. So we should put something on the edge of that so that stands out. Let's say, how about the teal? How about the blue, since that kind of pulled the card together? Let's go ahead and put the blue on the edge. We want this to be sort of like one smooth blue line all the way around. So we don't want to stop a lot of times, because every time we stop and start again, there's going to be a darker overlay. It's hard to do when you're doing a circle though. I will just do it the best I can at the moment here. And then we stop at the wings. That looks pretty good. Not perfect, but pretty good. And then that'll give us that little bit of pop that we need to make it look like he's in that circle. Super cool. There's one other thing that I want to do before we go. And I'm going to bring in my Cuttlebug for that. So we might have to whoa, we've got tons of stuff here. Let's get this out of the way. Move some of my markers that I've used. I tend not to put things away while I work, and then I end up having markers all over the place. And then for the underneath part, I'm just going to cut this in half. This is an A2 size card, so it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. To get that to fit, and I'm just cutting it with the scissors because we can trim it in a minute. But I want to bring this in and use one of these new dies that I did. I did put these dies out before, and I want to use one to show you how really cool they are. Okay, we're gonna, not dies, I'm sorry, embossing folders, and there's this one that I really want to use. So in the Cuttlebug, we used this C plate, this big fat C plate. And I want to make sure I grab the one that I originally intended to use, which is this one. Yeah, there it is. So I highly recommend that you go to the store and scroll down until you hit the Amazon links and look for these We Are Memory Keeper embossing folders. They come 6 by 6, and they have just the most fabulous textures in there. I mean, look at how your paper turns out. It's so cool. So look for those. Those are listed on the store site. But I want to do this one. Look at that like geometrical paper crunching. It's just delicious. So I try to figure out like what am I going to need to get that through there. And this works, but it's really, there's not enough give with the 1B plate on top of there. So I added in, I thought I had 2. This is 1. Let's go ahead and put our paper in there too right away. So I like that it's oversized. You can put oversized paper in there in case you're making a 6x6 or 5x5 card. And I put that with that other little rubber mat in there, and then a B plate so that it all sandwiches together. And that's not quite enough, so oh yeah, I was almost sure I had 2. Here's another one. 2 of these guys. C plate, B plate, and 2 rubber ones. Let's see if that works. That works. Now I got some grip. So a C plate, a B plate, and 2 rubber mats underneath. And then you end up with this awesomeness stuff. Look at that. That is incredible. I can't get enough of how awesome that ends up looking. Yeah, so if you're looking for them, they're really not that expensive. And these are some of the most fabulous patterns that I just know you'll like them so well, you will use them over and over and over again. It'll be totally worth the price that they are, and they're not that expensive. I was actually really impressed. I thought they'd be more, but they're relatively the same as what the other ones were. So this was the one that I really wanted to bring in for this card because I thought that would make a stunning background. So that would go on here, and then the B would go on top of that. And now you can't really see it, but so then you could bring in like an ink color and go over the top of that. I want to bring in a yellow, kind of a goldish yellow. So I'm thinking maybe scattered straw. Let's start with scattered straw and see how that one does. And in each one I've got some felt here because they go on these little tools. So I just grab my felt, pick up some ink, and then I'm just going to go over this gently. So I don't want to smash it, and I don't want it to be a full coverage. I just want that, I want that texture to be really apparent. And I'm going to do the whole thing because I can't remember how much of that sticks out from where the B sits. And then maybe if I can get the edges inked, that would look cool too. We could have done with this a bright blue too to key into our theme, but I think this works out really well. So that was Scattered Straw Distress Ink, in case you were wondering. That's going to go right on here, and then this is going to go on there. There we go. And now that's going to pop out all the rest of that yellow, that fabulous yellow that's in our card. So I need, actually, you know what? I'm going to use wet glue for this. Did I throw my glue over the edge too? I bet I did. I did. I'm going to use wet glue for this so I don't smash down that fabulous texture we got going on. This should be enough to just fall right on all top of those little mountain folds. It'd be plenty enough to adhere this directly down to my card. Just make sure that it's covered really well with glue, and then pop it down and slide it to where it should go. So we get coverage here. That's close enough. And then I'm just going to gently hold it just so that glue has a little bit of time to adhere, but I'm not smashing it because I don't want all those mountain valley peaks to disappear. I want that fun texture that you can feel on the card. So you can see it and you can feel it, and it's so uber cool. And you could add other colors to that too. You can make it multicolored. And then for our butterfly, our bee, you know what would have been fun is to put some bee paper in the background too, which I could have done eventually maybe. Just knew that this was going to be a cool card. So I'm going to go around the edges with this wet glue so that I know that it's going to stick to some of that stuff that's sticking up, and it will because the other part did too. Just make sure that I've got enough glue all the way around the whole thing so that it's got something to grab onto. And I'm going to tilt mine slightly left because trying to make things look perfectly straight, it's just much easier to give it just a slight tilt so it looks like it was completely meant to be that way. And then I'm going to press real lightly so that gives a chance to hold on. Yes, those folders make a super deep embossing. That's one of the huge differences. It's just awesome. I mean, if you can, seriously, if you can afford to get a bunch of them, get a bunch of them. They're all on sale on Amazon right now. At least they were like a week ago when I put them out. And that helps for my channel to keep continuing, so it's a win-win situation. Doesn't cost you guys anything more to use the links that I put out. It doesn't charge anybody extra. It just gives me a teeny tiny commission when I get so many sales, and then I put that towards the upkeep of keeping my channel going and stuff. So using all of my Amazon links, I really, really appreciate that. Joining me on Patreon, patreon.com/qualitycrafts. I would love to see more of you guys joining in on there. It just starts at $1 a month, and that's only just a few pennies for every video that I put out, especially if you're really enjoying the content and you feel like you're getting a lot of value out of them. I'd love to see a few more of you guys going over there. But just know that my videos here on YouTube are always free, always will be free. And the family group that we have, the community that's growing over on Facebook, on the Quality Crafts group in Facebook, everyone is welcome to, encouraged to join there. It's a non-commitment, non-drama, inspiring place to be, and we would love to have you there. If you want to get into the private group where we will be doing a lot more contests and games, and we send out monthly envelope challenges and stuff like that, then join us on Patreon and I can get you added into that group right away. So another thing that you can do is join us on Sundays, like today, from 2 to 3 p.m., Thursdays 6 to 7 p.m., and Wednesdays at 5 p.m., all Central Standard Time, so you can get your craft fix on 3 times a week with us here at Quality Crafts. And the last thing I want to say is that we also do have a blog, so if you're interested in doing a blog project, we will give you the theme, you make the project, and then you post it to that blog, and maybe you'll be a winner. So we would love to see you on all of those different venues where Quality Craft lives and grows and thrives, and I can't wait to see you guys next video.